Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new series that I am working on that will be focusing on a brief history and origin of each category of motorcycle archetypes. For the first episode of this series, we will be covering the sport bike. Now, ever since the dawn of motorcycles, they had been made and used for the purposes of racing, sport, and spectacle. But early motorcycles never did see as much of the specialization as we see today. While aerodynamics, streamlining, and a focus in power and speed had been there as early as the 1920s, it was not until the 1970s where we started to see the proliferation in the use of full fairings in competition motorcycles in GP, TT, and GT racing, as well as the introduction of the 1969 Honda CB750 that marked a dramatic increase in the power of mass-produced motorcycles at affordable prices. The era of the sport bike had started, but they would remain firmly within the domain of top-end one-off competition models for at least another decade or so. It was not until 1983 that Honda introduced the VF750F Interceptor that sport bikes as we know today became available to the mass market. The very first sport bikes were mostly based on bikes used in competitions, and they would form the basis of the first sport bike subcategory known as race replicas. Now, race replicas, or super sports as they would later also be known by due to the popular competition category, were characterized by full-bodied fairings with light frames, a focus on engines that can reach higher speeds, with ergonomics that favored function that included clip-ons and raised footpegs to allow riders to lean further and take corners faster. Modern race replicas include the commonly seen Yamaha R6 and R1 line, Kawasaki ZX6R and ZX10R line, Honda CBR600RR and CBR1000RR line, Suzuki's GXXR600 and GXXR1000 line, and even includes modern electric motorcycles like the Lightning LS218. The race replica category is often at the forefront of motorcycling technology and are often the first to incorporate new features that were originally introduced in the competition motorcycles. However, not every sport bike has to be based on a powerful competition machine. Standard motorcycles still were the tried and true design for ease of handling and comfort. In fact, many manufacturers had been incorporating features of the regular race replica into their lines of standard motorcycles. As early as Yamaha's XJ600 in 1984, sport standards often included at the very least a half fairing, and often with a similarly designed engine as their race counterparts. What sets sport standards apart from race replicas is often raised clip-ons or even handlebars to allow a more upright sitting posture. Engines were often tuned to provide a smoother power curve to aid riders in achieving an easier and manageable ride instead of pure speed. A very popular choice among sport standards up till today is the Suzuki SV650S that started production in 1999. Other notable models that are more modern include the Kawasaki Ninja 650R and the Honda CBF 600S. The fact that sport bikes in general have always embodied speed and adrenal excitement also made it a popular choice for many younger riders seeking a thrill. But just like any rider, many often in the end get into accidents or otherwise end up damaging their motorcycles. One of the biggest factors in the cost of sport bike repairs had always been the fairings that every sport bike has. many models costing as much as a couple $1,000s to replace in its entirety from the original manufacturer. The Street Fighter is a category of custom motorcycles based around the sport bike for as long as sport bikes have existed, and young and relatively poorer riders have been able to obtain one. The defining characteristic of Street Fighters were the use of race replica models that had its fairings and bodywork stripped away and not replaced after being damaged in a crash, with high straight handlebars replacing the clip-ons. Many owners of Street Fighters would later go on to the extreme, swapping out for short, loud, lightweight mufflers and adding round headlights to complete the aggressive look. Manufacturers themselves were not blind to the antics of custom bike builders and were fast to the game themselves. Factory-built Street Fighters were often as early as 1994 in the form of the Triumph Speed Triple. But while stylistically similar to custom jobs, they were for all intents and purposes totally different, as the essence of Street Fighters was in the modification of an existing product to suit the needs of its owner. However, it did not stop factory-built Street Fighters from becoming popular, and the trend continues all the way to today, with the most popular amongst them nowadays being the Ducati Street Fighter. I hope you found this video informational, and if you enjoyed this video, hit the buttons in the doobly-doo, links are in my pants, don't forget to leave a dislike and a nasty or explicit comment, yada yada yada. Hail Satan!